Let my hair flip, flip, umbrella drinks a sip, sip. Waving my jewelry, I'm just jiggling, baby girl. Head mingle, cavalli throw, leg is something sexy, turn it up to 90 degrees. I require the tight to be fire, got the eye of the tiger with the style of Maya. Frequent flyer, he'll stand higher, and I'll probably rock a Prada and papaya. Money on my clothes, and group picture, now we posing. Got the haters over time promoting.
I just came to say hello. So You're alright, but I'm your darling to enjoy the part. You're alright, but I'm your darling to enjoy the part. You're alright, but I'm your darling to enjoy the party. You're alright, but I'm your darling to enjoy the party. You're alright, I'm your darling to the party. You're alright, I'm your darling to the party. I'm your darling to the party. I just came to say hello. 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 Oh. We so fly. 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 Oh.
Hello, good evening, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch Watchers Brawl Round 4. Brawl 4. It is Round 2 tonight, as 3.007 comes at you, joined by the effervescent Sir Waltham.
You guys will all have to excuse me for missing out on last cast. I was in prison for murdering my SR over the break, but I'm glad to be back. I'm here. The cops can't get me. Just don't let them know I'm hiding out. But we're here to bring you another good game between Sinai Village and Team SubZero. And that being said, we're going to have a little tasty little pregame interview, as per usual, with the captain for Team SubZero. It's going to be ALW. ALW, you want to say hello?
Hello.
Well, welcome to the caster chat, my friend. We're going to ask you a quick few questions before we get going here. How are you feeling today?
Pretty good. Could be better, but yeah. Goat's made us all fun.
All right, well, I hear that. I hear that. Now, I'm just going to run you through the standard few questions I have. What are you guys doing here? What made you guys decide to join up with the Overwatch Watchers Brawl this month?
We thought it'd be a good opportunity to test our skill and see how we do against some pretty high RSR teams relative to open division placements, and see how we perform.
Awesome. We're definitely looking forward to seeing it. I hope you guys perform well. I love seeing good gameplay out of each and every team that comes through these doors. Now, ALW, if you know my casting, you'll know that I don't prepare anything. So while we were talking, you gave me a great idea for a fun little game. It's gonna take just a minute or two. I'm gonna list off some foods, and you have to tell me what they're sandwiches.
All right.
Okay. A BLT.
Sandwich.
Okay. Klondike bar.
Ooh, that's a hard one. That's a calzone.
Okay. A croissant witch.
Can I go like undecided?
Undecided, fine. Okay. Hot dog.
That is a sandwich.
Sub.
Ooh. I would go sandwich too.
All right. This one's hard mode. Tortilla wrap.
Taco.
Okay. No. I'll end the questioning there because I do have some questions. How is a hot dog not a taco?
Huh. You have to find out later.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You guys win this one. I fully expect that answer in written form, in essay format here. But I want that answer, so I'm going to go ahead and send you back over to your team so we can go ahead and get this game started and hopefully see some good gameplay coming out.
All right.
All right, ALW, thank you very much for putting up with my barrage of questions, and good luck out there.
All right. Thank you.
Now, Threep, we do have the maps coming up here. The first one we're going to be seeing looking like it's going to be Lijiang Tower. How are we feeling about that?
Ask me when we see Farah.
You know exactly what to say, Threep. I swear, that Farah pick, I feel like we're going to be seeing it till the end of time. At least in my dreams, I hope we will. But I think that, it's hard to say. We haven't really seen a lot of these teams. So how can, to our credit, how can you really know what they're going to be running? There's not, it's kind of like a grab bag for all these teams. I didn't want to ask ALW what they were going to run and, give away the surprise for either us or the opponent. But I'm definitely excited here.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. The Baptiste is suspected to arrive in the patch tomorrow to be enabled for competitive, which means he will also be enabled for the Overwatch Watchers Brawl. And he does have to arrive before Stage 2 starts, as that's typically, according to Blizzard, when they're going to be dropping major game-changing patches. Though I do feel it's a little bit unfair. I guess it's out of necessity, but all the other nerfs and buffs did go in. So Lucio's speed boost nerf, the Discord nerf, the Orbs of Destruction buff. So you're playing Overwatch as it's not meant to be played right now. So when Baptiste comes in, I'm hoping we see a lot more of those damaging picks. But for now, I do think we're going to be seeing some safe, reliable tanks and supports.
Yeah, I think that he will also be a boon to those bunker-type comps, those comps that can be stationary and really utilize his abilities that are also stationary, his immortality field, his damage amplification matrix, all of that kind of stuff. I think it's going to really kind of change things up. But as we speak about changing things up, we're going to be heading on over to Lijiang Tower here, seeing in just a moment that our first submap is going to be Control Center. Or Command Center.
Command Center, yeah, Control Center, actually, I don't know. In any event, though, the satellite is primed and ready for capture with 25 seconds left until the heroes assemble. It's, Legal is the only one that I remember watching from the previous tournament, and now, however, they're on a completely new team, so this will be interesting to see how this one goes out. The synergy between the icons here is very high for both teams, with one Mercy, 5 Doomfists on one side, and the Snowflakes on the other. I'm digging it. Both teams have a lot going for them right now. If you don't understand the Mercy Doomfist icon pick, go ask your parents.
That is some Monka icon picking there. However, as we get moving forward, if the gates are looking like what we might be seeing down the line, it looks like the team of SubZero going to be running that Mei pick. We've seen the Mei pick be run before instead of the Diva, and on this map it's not necessarily a bad pick. It allows for those choking of those closed choke points, and you kind of like it. You kind of like being able to have that control over the map.
Yeah, Bonzibon dropping into the maze is going to be huge. It looks like they're going to be taking a little bit of a interesting route, though, as they're not going to get a chance to use that Mei wall super effectively. The entirety of the, so to speak, is going to be getting in there on the point very quickly for a brawl, but it's going to be Leaf going down very quickly.
Yeah, right before that wall even came up, just a split-second Leaf going to be dropping by Bonzibon, or not by Bonzibon, but with the help from Bonzibon, and that's going to produce a solid first point capture for the team of SubZero.
Yeah, SubZero grabs it quickly. Sinai's going to have to, how do I say this, stabilize just a tad. They have their Zenyatta coming back from spawn, but now the Mei wall is going to be catching them out in full force. But Bonzibon goes down despite Zeal having the Discord, and instead of being stuck there in the choke by that nasty Mei wall, now Sinai gets to make a take for the point at a 6v5.
Yeah, one of the things to remember that with these Mei changes that have come in most recently, the Mei wall, each of those pillars' health has dropped from 500 to 400, making them a little less proficient at blocking that damage. We need to burst through it, and if you're able to catch one of the teammates out of position, really just collapse on them and just swarm them before they can react to the wall breaking.
Wow, barriers going down on both the points. It's an ult-pocalypse on the field. So much getting tossed out right now. The stun Shatter does catch Bonzibon. A countering Shatter is going to get obliterated, I think. Passed out, Leaf goes down as a result. But the point, remember, still in solid control for Sinai, who are going to be forced off, but it looks like they are going to now start doing some stall actioning.
Yeah, Buzz going to be deciding that they want to hold out onto that point, and the rest of the team looking like they're going to be filing in kind to really kind of give that backup. And I mean, we've seen this point, you know, be stalled out for a little bit already. The kills aren't necessarily going to go in favor of Sinai, but they're going to be able to at least hold on to it for about another 10-15%.
Yeah, they get a solid chunk of change there with almost getting to that halfway point, but it is going to be a Mei wall in the favor of SubZero that is going to be doing a good job at holding this choke point. And we've seen what happens when teams try to take the more confined room route. That tends to be an obliteration. Mei wall goes up a little too early, though, and gets also ruined down as the Diva Bomb goes in, leading with the rally. Big Bomb goes down, does get Cloud.
Yeah, that's going to be crucial. That was a very good send down the main alleyway, so to speak, of the now defending Team SubZero, and it takes out the Zenyatta player in Cloud, meaning that Transcendence will be out for the majority of this fight. Zenyatta having that very limited mobility, not going to be able to get back in time.
It's a pretty solid retake coming out from Sinai. SubZero did eclipse them in percentage, but they're also showing a much stronger ult economy right now. Though Transcend Barriers is going to be good fight initiators if SubZero wants to come in through the choke, ripping at the breakneck nerfed speed of Lucio.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind, ooh, fat Shatter. Wow. Massive Shatter coming from Leaf.
But it actually is the opposite of what happens for the kills. Leaf goes down to the owl charge, Legola picks up Senpai, and with that said, it's a 6v4 going into the point. Zeal doing his best to stay alive. That Discord proves too much, though. Buzz is now starting their Diva stall as Leaf comes back onto the point, but the trickle is going to be a little real.
Yeah, and one thing to remember about this Mei comp, even though they do have this Blizzard online, they will not have a lot to stop the Graviton Surge from coming in. Not going to really be an issue for the next couple of fights as Zeal is running at a minimal amount of charge. In fact, a lot of the crowd control ult is going to be coming through instead from the side of SubZero, really going to be trying to hold these chokes as much as possible.
Baited the Mei wall out again, but that was just the opportunity for the big Grav to come in. It catches them all, but now the Trans kept them all up. They have to get the Mei ult, and Zeal gets frozen. Leaf gets frozen very quickly. The assists on that kill were massive, and yeah, that's going to be not a good situation for Sinai. The point is now in a one-fight territory, but with losing the heroes that they do, Zeal going down, not good. Looking great for SubZero, though.
Yeah, the only one going to be having an ult online will be Buzz. Oh, but the Mei wall comes out at the worst time.
Wow, that was massive, and Tree is even going to get that stall going. Wolfwind goes down with his Zenyatta, unfortunately, to that Fire Strike. Owl building up to that next Shatter very quickly, going to be taking over Leaf soon.
Yeah, Leaf going to be getting sectioned off, not quite able to have the stall that they may want to on the side of Sinai Village to just maintain some presence on the point.
The charge kills coming out from Owl have been pretty huge. Buzz is actually going to get booped out of their mech, and that's no more from Sinai. SubZero take the first map on Lijiang Tower, but it was not a blowout fight by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and you know, I was talking about the difference between a Diva and a Mei character pick on this map. I think that if Buzz was maybe just a little bit sharper on that D matrix and able to watch out for when the Gravitons were going to be eaten, or even the Blizzards were going to be eaten. Could have provided, it perhaps could have turned a lot of battles in favor of Sinai. I mean, you know, hindsight and all of that, but really you kind of have to play to your strengths when you're working with that diva as opposed to the Mei. The Mei probably going to have better map control, but the diva going to be having better defensive cancellation abilities.
Yeah, it's a pretty nasty situation to be going up into, then especially with defense matrix's uptime being nerfed considerably with a fresher, longer cooldown. And there it is, Bonzaban on the Pharah. We're actually looking at SubZero pulling out that 4 DPS Hammond Mercy composition that some people have been using a lot in this newer generation of Overwatch.
Yeah, absolutely. I love to see it. Both Bonzaban on that Pharah, I think that's a really lovely and fun pick to watch. But also ALW on the Hammond, I definitely can't say I hate that either. Too Frosty, I'm curious to see how their Hanzo play is going to be. Sometimes we see some really strong Hanzo, sometimes we don't.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a bit of the strong Hanzo. Senpai goes down very quickly, their arrows landing with clutch precision, and yeah, Pharah, Bonziban already building up to a barrage, gets 2, and a Zarya dropped. We're actually going to be looking at Dragons coming out from Too Frosty very soon.
Yeah, in fact, already on a line. Only thing to really stop that is going to be Tree, who will most likely have the sound barrier on a line when those Dragons get sent out. Whether they're going to want to use it in response to that is a little bit questionable. They may want to save it for the Soldier Tac Visor, or even for if Cheddar builds up the EMP rather quickly, because that's something you have to keep an eye on. That Sombra able to build up EMP so fast. If your Zenyatta's playing close with the rest of the team, he will get burnt down.
Yeah, and with Zeal switching onto the McCree too, I like it when teams acknowledge that their composition isn't going to be working out. As Sinai gets onto the point, they now have a little more damage to bring to bear, but Hanzo's going nuts with their Storm Arrow. Senpai goes down again, Bonziban picks up Tree, and he just barely makes it out alive, only to be caught faced by a rocket. Zeal does pick up his kills, but it's looking pretty dominant for SubZero now on this very damage-heavy comp.
Yeah, something I really liked here that we saw come out from the team of SubZero was when Too Frosty fired out his ultimate, the Dragon Strike. We saw the Dragons swirl in, and if you're paying attention, you can see Cheddar walking in with the Dragons, knowing that nobody's going to want to walk into those Dragons, using that as a clearing path to get behind the team Sinai, and really just cause a little bit of disturbance from the back.
Yeah, and wow, Bonziban's rockets are just incredible. There's nowhere for Sinai to hide. Every path they take to the point is going to lead to a problem. And Buzz goes down! Buzz falls right off the map. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that is the fastest way back to spawn.
Yeah, and so far, there has not been a very solid-looking push from Sinai, at least on this map. We saw a couple better pushes on Command Center, but here on Gardens, it's just not looking great. I don't know if they're maybe not as comfortable running the McCree dive style composition, but it looks a little bit peculiar for them.
Yeah, and it only takes 2 rockets to knock out most of these low HP heroes. And Bonziban is doing a fantastic job. And so many ults now. That open up with their ults, but the EMP is there, and 2 Frosties. His dragons are eaten by Buzz, but you can't eat everything at the same time, and a barrage comes in and grabs Zeal. Now the hack coming in, but Leaf is going to kill Cloud before they can do a lot of damage with their ult. But it's Owl's bombs. Hammond going ham on this point, and Sinai is going to have to make a last-ditch effort here, but the picks... I was about to say the hero pool was looking pretty good, but too many mines.
Yeah, too many mines on the point indeed. Looking like it is going to flip over to it's going to stay in possession of Team SubZero. And really what we wanted there was just a huge amount of ults. We saw the Far Rocket Barrage, we saw the mines. Even though it got eaten, we saw the Dragon Strike, we saw the Mercy Vault. And, I mean, just those amount of numbers get overwhelming so quickly. I think that the only person we didn't see may have been Cloud on that last push. But actually, you know, looking at it, we did see the Tac Visor come out. So, I mean, when you're incapable of burning your enemy's ults with eco pushes like that, you kind of have to expect that that's going to be your results when it matters most.
Yeah, you end up facing the ult apocalypse, and unless you have something to stall with, like you said, just something to pull it out, you're always going to be on the losing end of that side. And again, major shout out, Bonziban's rockets. She was just doing incredible damage up there, and it seemed like every time they did try to make that eco push, they were taking so much damage. You figure actually their support ults would have been online more.
Yeah, and I gotta admit, I called them out on it the first sub map, and then it seems like it got better. We saw, I think it was Buzz be a little bit better on that diva about eating those ultimates. That's really what you like
Yeah.
to see. You like to see the neutralization of that ult. It was just 1 or 2 dragon strikes coming through, but still, you know, if they had done that in, you know, the pushes where it was just the dragon strikes, maybe we see those fights go a different way. Suddenly they have the control of the point and it goes a different direction.
Yeah, and it is going to be now the momentum. Can SubZero keep it or will Sinai take it back? SubZero is going to be... SubZero bans Horizon Lunar Colony. That's a common ban. And Sinai is going to select the Hollywood map, which is interesting. We actually saw that played in the last match today at 7. And I'm curious as to how Sinai and SubZero are going to rock this. It was a very standard 3-3 previously, but you can do some pretty interesting bunkers here.
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about it a lot. Cafe, very good for bunkers on top of the little elevator perch. You can have a lot of widow makers there. This map has a pretty tall hitbox, so it's not impossible to foresee a Pharah. Of course, there's the standard goats compositions. Dive for if you want to try to get onto the cafe to perhaps counter a bunker comp or attempt to counter a bunker comp. A lot of different ways you can play, particularly the first point of Hollywood. I anticipate second point might be a little bit more hit scan based because of the high ground and things like that. And we've already seen that it was looking like SubZero a little bit more ready to be on that DPS heavy comp. So I'm thinking that if anybody, we're going to see them particularly focus a DPS style comp, more so maybe than Sinai.
And I don't know if it's mind games or not, whether they're intending to run Pharah or not. It has been said Owl is going to be saving that Pharah, and I think I can see why. If I was going to have a Pharah on a map again and it was going to be Hollywood, I feel like it's a really safe option. And, ooh, how interesting, though. The ban from Sinai Village is going to be Mercy. So that kind of gimps a little, gimps that combination a little.
Yeah, it's a little bit peculiar here. So without the Mercy, who in a lot of situations would not be considered a strong main healer, especially in these goat style compositions where, you know, it's your aura healers and then either Zen, Ana, or Moira. So you have your Brig who can heal in a radius. You have Lucio who can heal in speed in a radius, and then you have, you know, one of the other 3 that kind of fit to your need. It's weird that they chose Mercy. Maybe they're trying to prevent the pharmacy combo. But I don't know. I think that it can. It's going to be peculiar if they go with another comp heavy, a DPS heavy comp. Excuse me. How that goes.
Agreed. And you know, Hollywood, it's that, you know, a little bit of that hybrid action. You do have to bust open point 1 before you get to play on the streets. And if you don't have the damage to get through point 1, if you just, whether the rotations are too strong, you just can't get a kill in, you got to be bringing the pain. And I think with no teams being able to bring the Mercy, I still don't necessarily want to say that Pharah is a bad pick. Shooting, especially if you're bunkered up in Cafe, rockets going all over the place. That's still a problem.
Yeah, and you know, kind of one of the, you know, duct tape ways of dealing with a bunker comp is just, you know, displace one of the members to where they're no longer in the bunker, that is, and then either the bunker has to alternate and move, or that person has to try to relocate themselves. You know, a concussion blast can definitely work to do that if you catch it at just the right angle.
Yep, and that's just pretty much the long and short of it. Bunker busting is totally a thing. You know, you used to see Junkrat being that particular character a lot. His worth, especially as a tire, a fight ender, those tires can come out and just do some serious damage. You used to see a lot of compositions where a diva would follow the tire about with that defense matrix. You don't really see that a lot anymore, but I still kind of wish some teams would run it. And if, oh man, Zeal, don't do this to me. Don't even sit on that bash.
Don't say it unless you mean it, Zeal. We need to get Threepwood not debated at some point during this tournament.
It's
so we're
gonna
see
happen.
how it goes. Let's go.
All right.
I'm keeping it open, but I'm thinking probably not, especially not without a sim.
Now, the interesting thing here is the 3-3 coming out on defense for SubZero. They're choosing to set up on the forward high ground there without any real ability from most of the characters except for, you know, Zenny and Zarya to really do some damage. Curious to see if this Sombra-enabled composition is going to get ahead of them.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting gambit. They we're just using Buzz, it seemed, to just do a little bit of scouting, but maybe they're taking this position so they can't necessarily get wrapped around should the attacking team choose to go through the their left side high ground.
Speaking of which, they try to do the wraparound anyways, and yes, they leap down immediately from that high ground for a little bit of that engage, Alwell bringing up some great charge for his first shatter.
Yeah, AWL definitely looking beefy on that shatter, and you know, it's doing the work that it needs for Sinai to kind of not be so not so straightforward looking. They have to kind of keep repositioning themselves and you know, breaking their ankles as it is.
Yeah, meanwhile, ALW, I'll get it right, is going to get up some sick kills with the Fire Strike. But look at this, Sinai is doing a great job coming back here. Kills starting to really come into direction. The spawn advantage is very real as Zeal goes absolutely ham with a 3K. No grav needed.
Yeah, both Zarya is going to be looking very close to that grab. It certainly might make these next few fights look a little bit more interesting. And that being said, I think it's really going to come down to how Cheddar and Buzz can kind of play around it. Cheddar going to have that self-destruct to combo with Frosty if the inclination is there, but I think it's going to come down kind of to a numbers game. Buzz still in baby form. Going to have to build up the mech before even the self-destruct is in question. Ooh.
I think they're going to get their mech back. And that is the open season call for SubZero to start doing a bit of that full court press action, build up some ults, get Legola, get ALW charged up again. Armor going to be donated. They're all going to get out of there alive. But we are definitely looking at a big, almost looking at a Big 12 situation. We'll call it the 7-11.
Yeah, and Tree going to be the one who's just lacking quite a bit of ult charge, going to be in that low 40%. Cheddar eats Zeal's grab, oh my goodness.
Amazing, and so too Frosty gets to throw out a grab of their own. The bomb goes in, gets 3! Tree, Senpai, Leaf gonna get sent back to spawn. You know, talk about hitting the forest, the trees, the birds, the animals, everything in between.
And man, it always makes you feel good as a caster to have everything you touch on kind of be a factor in the game. We saw the grab eaten, we saw the combos coming through, and oh man, that was kind of fundamental defense gameplay that you like to see.
Yeah, it was crazy, and Tree is still nowhere near where they where they probably want to be for that barrier's ultimate. So instead, it's going to be Legola and Bonziban with the only holders of the big defensive ults, as the rally was committed to that fight, just not good times. So now the poke fight is coming on, but the Shatter goes in, catches Bonziban and Cheddar, but Legola drops the barriers. Not going to be getting any kills through that anytime soon.
Yeah, and we are going to be seeing the grab come out. This time, another Diva Bomb. Ooh, nice.
Wow. 2.5K? I'll take it. And wow, Sinai blows that one wide open. They can finally get their Streets phase started.
Yeah, and now we're going to see Sinai start to chug along a little bit here. And curious if the defensive team SubZero going to be sticking on their comp. It looks like they will, knowing they may not have the opportunity to really take advantage of that high ground like we see a lot of other teams try to do, perhaps more DPS-oriented compositions. Both rallies coming out, we're going to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, Bonziban started the rally very early into the fight, and not a lot of armor is going to be donated to a lot of the team members there. Barriers now coming out from Tree, who finally got it back up and all that fighting. And yeah, this is definitely going to be going for Sinai. They are making very short work of this defense, and it's going to be difficult for SubZero to get another fight out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happened was we saw Bonziban pop the rally and rush out into Streets as the rally was being popped. I think that maybe there was just a misestimation of how far along the cart was. Maybe they were trying to check through the objective tracker in-game as opposed to the UI, and maybe they just misread it, but I think that that rally was room for improvement.
Yeah, and Cheddar getting bullied by Senpai, it is going to, that's not looking good. With the D-Mech there, they are actually going to force themselves onto the card to get that kill, because definitely don't want to go back and lose that precious Diva Bomb percentage with a Grav coming online.
Yeah, absolutely, and once again, we're going to be seeing the Diva Grav combo coming in. Frosty and Cheddar. The cold cheese combo, as weird as that sounds. Going to perhaps be a defensive stop here to allow an opening for the defense for the first time since, you know, they got through the first Streets choke.
Oh, wow, a huge Shatter goes in, the Grav comes up to follow it, and a Diva Bomb is actually going to grab Legola down. Buzz goes, but then the Shatter on the cart, massive, the bomb is there, and it's a 4K from Cheddar.
Yeah, wow. Cheddar going to be performing that Diva Bomb to almost perfection, just not quite getting the full 5-man at the time wipe. But still, you're not too upset about that. If you're the team SubZero, you're still holding, and this is a fairly good point to hold. You don't necessarily want to have it held so close, but it's still kind of a one-fight situation, depending on how long the fight brawls out for.
Yeah, speaking of the brawl, it's in full force. Both rallies now going in full face of every team member on every side. But the barriers from Tree is gonna, or barriers from Legola, I think is gonna be what decides this, or rather the lack of barriers from Tree. No kills coming in from either side. This defense is holding strong, but Leaf has his Shatter now, and the barriers to back it up, and it goes out, it catches 3.
Yeah, wow, the follow-up almost looking like it wasn't going to be there. I was really worried for Leaf that Shatter would net no fruit. However, it does seem to work, and it's going to start swinging in favor of the attacking team.
Yeah, swinging away indeed. Leaf is going to be taking this cart to victory. I think this is stall comp time for SubZero. If they can even get back to the point in time, they will. They will get a chance to stall.
Yeah, but the question here is that you have so many ults coming online. Who do you swap out? ALW going to be dropping that Earth Shatter, not quite enough. And now might be the optimal time for them to swap.
Yeah, they caught in the grab. The trans is going to come in, though, and Diva Bomb is actually going to grab Cheddar out of mech. So they're going to be pushing this one in very quickly. Too Frosty can't get back on the cart in time. There's going to be an Angry Hamster Ball now, and that's kind of the stall you want, but it's just not enough, and with plenty of time to spare, Sinai pushes that very good.
Yeah, one thing you have to kind of be aware of, that Hammond, or that Wrecking Ball, so hard to run when you're the only person on the field, especially against Brigitte, because if you get shield bashed, you're stuck on point, and then the entire weight of that Goats comp is just crashing down upon you. You'd even get whip shot off the point, which I believe is what we saw come through from onto ALW. So it just kind of removes the effectiveness, but if you're just looking to get to point quickly, you kind of have to go with the Wrecking Ball as the tank player.
Yep, the Wrecking Ball comes out first, then you get the, what is it? You get the words, the shields, the Hammond shields come out, Hammond comes out, he does a little bit of that stall action, May follows shortly after, sometimes you even see Reaper, though his healing sustain just got a little knocked down a tad. It's nothing as ridiculous as it was before. It's still pretty crazy, especially the quantity of damage that he can put out, but ultimately, what's going to end up happening is SubZero now is going to be making their push. 1:12 is a respectable Hollywood time, but that's definitely not unbeatable.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I'm quite a bit surprised that we're seeing the teams be as faithful to the Goats style compositions, at least, that we've been seeing. We've seen a little bit of a mix-up with the Mei, but really, aside from that quad DPS we saw on Li Zhang, I think it's been pretty faithful to that composition. And you know, I don't necessarily disagree. The team seem to be running it pretty competently. I think that SubZero really showing the power of that quad DPS. But, I mean, it's pretty par for the course, unfortunately, if you don't like Goats.
Yeah, it's going to be a perfect mirror composition. Wolfwind getting some very early charge, though. I think he almost caught Bonziban's head a little too much, but now the fight is almost going to be starting force. Yeah, SubZero are going to be taking the exact same path that Sinai did earlier.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to be getting chased by Sinai, but not quite. Just Sinai going to be cutting them off in the cafe instead.
Yep, Senpai. Ooh, Senpai actually going to grab 2 Frosty before they have a chance to do anything. This fight looking very good for Sinai. Also going to be picking up ALW, and now with no real retreat in mind. It's going to be, well, just picking them off one by one, like shooting zennies in a barrel.
Yeah, Legola almost going to be getting out of there, however, going to be getting chased down by the rest of the team. And Legola actually, you know, when you lose your Lucio in the beginning, you definitely just kind of can't get away, because if the enemy team still has Lucio, they're going to chase you down. They have that speed advantage over you. So it's a little bit surprising to see they didn't try to get out with Legola in tow to try to avoid giving all that ult charge coming through for Team Sinai.
Look at that, Shatter goes in, grabbing 3. ALW goes down so quickly. 2 Frosty following very quickly. That's the kind of ult use you want to see. 1 ult, win the fight. Bye-bye SubZero, and a little bit of the stagger to boot onto Bonzi. That's just rude.
The one comment I have that I would like to see a little bit more of coming out of Team Sinai here, BM the Diva a little bit more. Cheddar gets demech'd and I see them drop almost instantly. I'd love to see Cheddar just get absolutely frustrated with just being held out in Baby Diva form, making those pushes just take, you know, 3 to 4 seconds longer. That can make a difference.
Yeah, 2 pushes, 2 minutes. Now it's going to be the grab. The trans there, though. The bomb has to come in huge if it's going to matter. It does. Of course. It gets Bonzi and ALW. The boop finishes off Cheddar. Again, now it looks like the Waltham might be taking your advice, as they are going to be leaving Cheddar alone, though Cloud isn't going to be so lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. And one person of note, Zeal's positioning really clever. The rest of the defending team, Sinai going to be up on top of that central building, and then going to be seeing Zeal with that Graviton already in the sound system room, in the room with all the instrumentation cases. And as the team is kind of focusing on rotating around the central building, Zeal just comes up behind and grabs most of the team, and just sets it up really nicely for the rest of Sinai.
Yeah, now the SubZero ult bank is looking pretty well stocked and funded now. Bonzibon does have that grab. There's the Diva Bomb to combo it up. So Leaf, it might be looking to get a very dirty shatter. They're actually going to lead with the rally, though. Excellent timing. But they, ooh, they catch Too Frosty. They catch him out. The grab goes in maybe a little prematurely as the bomb goes up. The trance is there, but it doesn't matter. Cheddar gets another 4K.
Yeah, these Divas have been playing very strong lately. Maybe Cheddar a little bit cheesed off, if you will, about us saying to stagger them as much as we have been. And, you know, with a solid Diva play like that, I don't think it's any surprise that they're going to take first point.
Yeah, and also as a reminder, if we've been seeing a lot of fat bomb shatters, grabs, and all that good stuff, if you have a player you're super liking, vote for them in the MVP poll in the panel below the stream.
Absolutely. Let us know who you think is great. I think that this gameplay is great right now as we move forward. A little bit of a scattered positioning here coming from Sinai.
Interesting. Yeah, the rally actually has to come out now from Sinai as they start making their stagger. Are they going to get any kills yet? No. Yep, there it is. ALW does go down thanks to that Zenyatta Discord, and Zeal with a charge that any Zarya can be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, it's going to be setting up once again for this fatal Zarya Diva combo. We've seen that be kind of leaned supremely heavily upon these this last round or two. And oh wow, that's a very early grab.
Yeah, huge, and the bomb now that is actually going to catch ALW. So interesting, they started that fight very quickly, and it almost looks like it might be a little difficult for them, because remember, the spawn is a long walk for the defense here.
Yeah, as well, Cloud playing in a dangerous position, but what I really like on behalf of Sinai is that they were able to kind of neutralize Legola and Cloud support ultimates in one shot with that Diva Bomb.
Yes, and so here we go. Too Frosty has their rally ready to go. ALW has a fat shatter of their own, and they are going to start this fight with the rally. Yep, there's a shatter. It does catch Diva, and I think the other one, but a major shatter coming back out from Leaf, who unfortunately dies for his sins. Legola going down as well. I'd rather have a big shield than a Lucio for this little fight.
Yeah, absolutely have to agree that space is going to be purchased so much more with ALW than a Lucio, especially since a Lucio can get back so quickly.
Wow, and they make it out. ALW actually arrives just in time to pin Senpai, and a 4-man shatter comes back in. Huge.
Yeah, ALW getting a Earth Shatter rather quickly with that team fight. We saw one come out right at the beginning, and then once again, we're going to be seeing it probably like 30 seconds later. You like to see it, but I think that the time bank's hurting a little bit more on the side of SubZero than for Sinai that we saw this time last round.
Yep, and they're gonna fight. They're getting close to one fight territory. Unless they engage very quickly, this could be the last big team fight for the point, and that would not be good for the comeback around as the map has been completed. This will be the end of it. The rally has come out now. Too Frosty giving armor to all of his team members. With Zeal grab does come out, catches Too Frosty. The trance is there, as is the Diva Bomb, and it is gonna grab Too Frosty because the Reinhardt just wasn't able to get there in time.
Yeah, and I liked that. The charge came out on to Too Frosty. Ooh, massive pin, or massive shatter.
Wow, and yeah, again, one ult, one fight, please, and with the entirety of Sinai getting blitzed away by that fight, the payload has made it. A minute and a half has been added. It's not possible for them to beat the time on the clock, but it is possible for them to beat it with time.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta kind of aim for that. And man, these team combos have been really strong. These teams both leaning kind of very heavily on their ultimates. I think that we see these divas perhaps be some of the biggest shift players in the game, being able to neutralize and play around those ultimates.
Ult Festival on the point. Once again, the bomb goes in. Cheddar gets another 2K. I can't go crazy about that one. I've already seen what he can do twice now, so keep it in. Yeah, you got to keep it all relevant, you know?
Absolutely. And man, again, just these combos have been brilliant. But it seems like Cheddar going to be having that Diva Bomb up what feels like every fight, almost as often as ALW having that Earth Shatter up. But we're going to see if they'll be able to keep this momentum as we get into the last few pushes.
Wow, the 5-man shatter, maybe even 6. Leaf going down. I couldn't catch the stun effect in time. That's not looking good for this defense. Again, losing the Reinhardt. Bad times.
Yeah, absolutely. However, if the fight is not capitalized upon by Team SubZero, their respawns will come in. Leaf going to be charging in back into battle, ready to fight. Fresh shield, fresh health pools, ready to go.
Yeah, Zaryas are also looking pretty crazy. Zeal has the grab. Bonzi Bomb won't be too far behind, but there he goes. He's going to the backline. He shoots the grab in. He gets the 4. The Diva Bomb goes out again, this time from Buzz. Will it catch anyone? No. The shield presence was there. The placement was not correct. And there you have it. The cart is on and moving. Barriers going out for Bonzi Bomb, maybe to unleash that big grab. And yes, there it is. But there's the trans. No bomb. There it is. Cheddar has the bomb.
Yeah, Cheddar getting that bomb just in time, going to be getting a triple kill. Man, these divas have really been the make or break of this game. However, there's not going to be any time left in the bank for SubZero, and there will be more than a minute for Sinai. And you know what that means, 3?
Bastion?
Yeah, it's meaning that unless I'm absolutely mistaken on the rules, which I don't think I am. I'm pretty good at this point. I've made my fair share of mistakes leading up to this point, that it will just be Team Sinai attacking. They have to get 1 tick onto the first point to make it. There will be no increase in time bank for the now defending Team SubZero. So at best, for SubZero, they get a draw.
Yes.
Best case for Sinai, they get a win.
Unlike escort maps, both teams do not receive that minute. It would be kind of rude for the teams to not get the time bonuses. You'd literally just have to step out of spawn, kill everyone on the cart, and then boom, you've won it. So in this instance, it's tricky. It's super tricky. Yes, can you do a full hold here? Absolutely. Can you do a full hold when if you give up a tick, you lose? That's a little harder.
Yeah, I think that is definitely going to be the case. And with the GOATS comps, that's going to be questionable. We've seen how effective the Diva and Zarya grab combos can be, especially from Cheddar and Bonzi. It's seeming like they really have that synergy down pat. But it's only going to have to take one of those bombs on the side of Team Sinai to get even a tick. So I think you're playing with a little bit with fire by matching GOATS comps here.
Yeah, now both teams have tried this approach on their first approach, and it hasn't worked for any of them so far. And yes, the defense coming out from SubZero is really intense, correctly so. Valif goes down way too early for this push to have any, substance to it. And if they can get any more of these staggers here, this could be really bad for the offense.
Yeah, absolutely, and you cannot let that happen. I mean, we're already down to 30 seconds. That is going to be tough to make it onto point. You're going to be sweating it a little bit, and with the quicker blitz style that we're seeing come out of SubZero as opposed to their first defense, I think that Sinai really going to have to be methodical about this.
Yeah, a fat shatter or a fat grab. Which one's going to come out first? ALW definitely going to build that percentage before Zeal's going to finish his grab. And yes, now here they come. Sinai taking the other way around. And this is prime position for a big shatter to go down those stairs and wreak some havoc. But Leaf still up makes it difficult. And the shatter goes right into a shield. Nothing happens. And there was Zeal's grab ready to counter. Kills on the point. It's all over. Sinai is going to be taking this first tick. No questions asked. Cloud doing a great job stalling with Trance. If it were any other point, they'd be able to get back in time.
Yeah, absolutely. ALW want to be switching onto the Hammond just to get that speed, however, not going to really matter. And that was just a very nice block coming out from the main tank of Sinai. Leaf playing that absolutely perfectly, knowing that that shatter was going to be online from ALW, and just having it on hand to just prevent, that's what they needed.
So here we go. Now Sinai has that clapback power going for them, and so the hero bans and switches and whatnot are going to be going in on the opposite side. I was wondering which 4K it was going to be from Cheddar for play of the game. By the way, I'm glad it was that one.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be some massive Zenyatta play. I don't know. Okay, I guess I'm wrong. No,
Not saying Cloud wasn't like ripping it up there. The quantity they put out is clearly incredible. So Sinai Village going to get the map banned this time. Horizon Lunar Colony already having been banned, we're going to be banning Dorado immediately, which. Interesting. They did so well on that Hollywood escort phase, I figured they would have liked to keep those maps in the pool. Maybe they just have something against Dorado.
Maybe just jokes, because if I'm not mistaken, the 2 escort maps are going to be Junkertown and Watchpoint, so Dorado not even going to have to be a worry for Team Sinai here. They're going to get it banned basically for free, so now they're going to be, you know, if they want to ban escort maps, they're going to pick between Junker and Watchpoint. I would hope that they'd be picking Gibraltar. Well, the thing is, both of the escort maps kind of open up for different play styles, right? So,
yeah,
Watchpoint very dive friendly on the second point. It continues to be dive friendly. It's pretty much one of the most dive friendly escort maps, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah,
on the exact other end of the spectrum, you have Junkertown, which is pirate ship. You know, that was kind of the map that spawned and has continued to make dominant the pirate ship play style. So I think that if we see those escort maps come up, I think that we might see some different play styles. That being said, these teams seem to be liking goats, so that may just be hot air. Who knows?
An interesting thought. Yeah. I honestly don't disagree at all. Would they be preferring the dive though? What SubZero, SubZero did a fantastic job with that DPS comp, but playing dive is a little trickier. They, you know, the Discord orb has to be clutch. The coordination between your Winston and your D.Va has to be so ready. There's a lot more appealing that D.Va needs to be responsible for. Granted, with Cheddar's propensity for shatters, I get the feeling they're familiar with the hero. I have a feeling they would be up to that D.Va task. So, definitely a possibility. Or they might try to go with something for that damage potential, now that it's been shown that Sinai has, I think, a little bit of the edge there on those matchups, because you can't rely on Cheddar's bombs all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Cheddar puts forth some massive potential when the bomb does go through, but if it doesn't, then, you know, I mean, that's kind of your win condition, it's seeming like, in these fights. And, you know, it's questionable if, you know, Gibraltar are going to be the map that is that is going to be banned. So we're really not going to see that as much potential for a dive comp come in. Numbani also off of the roster for this tournament. So I'm thinking that our dive options are going to be limited here, mostly to Watchpoint, maybe a little bit of Hanamura. I'd kind of doubt it, though. But I'm still waiting on the pick from SubZero to really kind of theory craft what the next comps coming out are going to be.
Yeah, they're selecting. It looks like they're going for that map selection though, and Ilios. I think that might be coming out of that Lijiang Tower success. You know, they did do a fantastic job.
Absolutely, and right now, if I'm not mistaken, it should be a 1-to-1. So Ilios kind of we talk about, it feels like every time I'm highlighting, oh, this inclines us to not play goats, but that's what it feels like Ilios does. You know, you have the Ruin Snipers map, so we're likely to, we have the potential to see Ashe or Widow on Ruins. You know, you have the Pulled Pork, Orisa, Pharah combo on Well. That displacement combo does a lot of work as well, considering that you have to play against a giant hole that, you know, can just absolutely destroy your team. And then Lighthouse is kind of the little bit more standard one that you kind of tend to see, with, you know, whatever the kind of meta composition being a little bit more favorable to run. That one's a little bit more neutral. But I'm definitely excited because that means we're going to see at least one of the non-conventional comp-inclined sub-maps come out.
Yeah. And with the with the save on Lucio and the ban on Zarya first, so neither team gets to play the Zarya, we might actually get to see some of those crazy little compositions coming in. Maybe, again, 3-3 without a Zarya, absolutely doable. Is it as strong? I don't think so. I think you have a lot more success than, based on the Ilios map, running something a little differently.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'm excited. I'm gonna show my hand a little bit here, Threep. I'm really excited to see this. It's all a matter of which maps come out of the deck first, as it were. But we're going to be entering and seeing here in just un momento.
And here we have, and it's Lighthouse. Lighthouse is our first.
Okay. So probably the most, what we might expect to be the most standard composition type sub map. That being said, it's not as meta defined as something like King's Row, where you're definitely going to see goats, or something with massive high ground that doesn't have long sightlines, so you're not definitely going to see dive. It has a little bit of everything. It has a little bit of everything for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of capacity, or room for a ton of fun comps to be played. But again, the save onto Lucio went out, the ban onto the Zarya. I didn't see a Pharmacy in any of those two names, so Bonzi, come on! Aw, well, Genji's still fun.
Genji, very fun indeed. Maybe going to be seeing two Frosty, if these teams are correct, two Frosty popping onto that Sombra. Maybe doing a little bit of scouting for the dive, but Bonzaban going to be saving me the heartache of not saying Pharah, and she's going to be popping onto that Rocket Princess, provide a little bit of destruction from the sky.
So here we go. Yeah, it's actually going to be that. Yeah, it's that dive that you were calling for. It's the Winston and the Diva. We have the Mercy and the Zenyatta. Of course, you can't be running the Lucio, even though you probably really want to. And Bonzi and Frosty for the damage. I super like it. Super like it a lot.
Ooh. Tip my hat to that Pharah play. That is just the advantage you have when you play those massive sight lines in a map like this.
How do you even recover that? Like, if you're those players and you started off that map like that, and that's what you get to walk out to is two immediate frags from Pharah from literally across the map. That's like some CS:GO level. I just threw my grenades and killed the team stuff.
That, if anything, tells Zeal that they're definitely going to have to be on the lookout. That McCree going to have to be working his hardest to take out that Mercy and Pharah in the sky. That being said, we're going to see how they play. Still just on that one-hit scan character for now.
I am surprised that they didn't switch their comp up right away. Wow, he almost gets the Cheddar focused out, and he does! Cheddar is going to get demexed there, and Kill's now going to be definitely favoring Zeal and his 6-shooter. But Buzz also going to get demexed, so, and Legola goes down as well. The Pharah barrage is there, but Zeal and Bonzi just trading kills left and right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going back and forth. We're going to see the high noon come out. Not quite looking like it's going to get anything, though. It's unfortunate, but that's what you expect at high levels. The Deadeye going to be making you a stationary target. You don't want to hold it for too long.
Yeah, at best, Seal got himself a reload there. Senpai decides it's time to take the point back, and so they do.
Yeah, and in this situation, a lot of times the words of wisdom when it comes to dealing with a Pharmacy is to just don't deal with it, kill the ground forces first. And I think that there's a lot of potential from the team Sinai to do that. It's just not going to be easy with how Bonzaban's been performing, at least at the start of this game.
Yeah, and now we get a little bit of that hack action, and it looks like there is going to be the reveal. The Primal Rage has been uncovered, and let's see if they manage to take him out before the fight goes in. Well, rather, ALW decides he's going to drop his out first. Leaf also pops it as well. And again, no kills for either side. It's just pure pokes. And there goes the high noon. It finds Legola and it pushes Bonzimon out of the air. Leaf finishes off the kill. This is a much different control point Sinai than what we saw earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Leaf looking very strong, and we actually saw the Primal get forced out from ALW rather early in that fight as compared to when the kills started coming through. They started trying to bully Zeal back, but as soon as they had to leave, because as soon as ALW had to leave because they were getting low, we saw Zeal pop that ult knowing that ALW really couldn't contest and knock the McCree out of the way.
Yeah, that's using the McCree, again, with that Deadeye getting the kills that it needs to. Buzz is going to find Legola high in the sky. Again, another dangerous problem with Pharmacy means when Diva has that bomb out there, if they get in your general direction, very difficult to get away from it.
Yeah, definitely can tell that Buzz watched the Reading Rainbow because he can definitely fly twice as high. However, looking forward, we're going to be seeing a lot of ults come through for the team SubZero here. A lot in their pockets, a lot to work with. Seeing if Bonzabon particularly, at least I'm going to be seeing if they're going to be able to leverage that Rocket Barrage to full effect.
Yep, and oof, but wow, okay, so there it is. SubZero getting a little bit of that clapback. Seems they've found a bit of the way. Zeal tosses his Deadeye out. He dies for the sheer audacity of trying to do that. The hold, though, is going to take, yes, Leaf and Buzz are going to be able to stall to 99%, putting it in a very good position for Sinai here.
Yeah, the nice thing about that is you did not blow a whole lot of ults if you're looking on the side of SubZero. I think it was just Cheddar who blew the Sea of a Self-Destruct, so you still have that Rocket Barrage, you still have the Trance, and you still have the EMP. EMP perhaps one of the more powerful ults considering how quickly it builds up, and if you're able to capitalize upon a kill on the tree, getting that sound barrier out of the fight very early.
Yeah, ooh, the EMP came out from Too Frosty, but Senpai just kills them anyways, and now the ults are online for Sinai. Barrage goes in the back line, but they're not able to get it. Buzz eats most of it, kills Bonzi, and big barriers coming in for 5 of the members of Sinai at least, who, once they clean this up, have a really good shot at taking the point. Bonzi does get rezzed, but Leaf's jumping around, and ALW goes down to the Deadeye, and also Cheddar gets demeched with some follow-up. Man, kills from Zeal are too strong.
Yeah, Leaf doing a really good chase onto Legola, and you like to see it. Legola almost getting away through the cover of some roofs, and Leaf just absolutely going to chase, but we saw pretty much every ult come out of the bag for the attacking team Sinai there. And, you know, when you only need to win one fight, I think that kind of makes sense. You're willing to put forth as much as you have. A little bit dangerous blowing them all at once, because then you kind of don't have much to go on, but if it's last fight, I think that, you know, you still can hit him with the shock and awe factor.
Yeah, and wrapping it up like that is a good, solid signal to send. SubZero, again, the Lijiang Tower map wasn't super dominant from either side. SubZero did take it in 2, but the percentages were very closely aligned. In this instance, similarly, but Sinai being very adept here, taking that map all the way to 99, doing that one fight, coming out. Zeal with that McCree was way too destructive, much more destructive than they were on Lijiang, and now their Widowmaker is going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Zeal. Stop right out of the gate. Are you kidding me? Pulling a Bonzi bonded last round. Good grief.
Yeah, that's just good revenge, you know. Like the composition of the Mercy Hammond coming out here does have that weakness of not having any shield to speak of, so Too Frosty's head is just prime clickable material for this Ruins map opening, and it looks like they almost, well, that aerial dive very close to getting called out again, but now Tree's going to find ALW quickly, and it's going to be another 6v5 matchup for SubZero's disadvantage, who can't seem to get out of spawn without losing at least someone.
Yeah, Leaf going to be diving back pretty far, getting caught out a little bit, bumped just off the high ground by Cheddar, getting them into a dangerous position, but Leaf able to get out just in time without losing their life.
Yeah, and now as a reminder also, since you were seeing some really interesting plays, you still have time to vote in the Twitch MVP poll below for one of these teams doing a great job, and it's going to be Buzz starting off this fight, grabbing Cloud, Wolfwind picking up Legola with that nasty little orb of sadness, and no fun times allowed. Cheddar getting pushed out. Again, they're not able to get that bomb going yet. Tree doing fantastic work here on that Lucio, which has been saved for both teams' use.
Yeah, and I kind of like this, Too Frosty kind of kissing the ring and switching to the Tracer when you can't necessarily go up Widow v Widow, which, I mean, you know, credit where it is due. Zeal putting the shots where they needed to be. You want to cause a little bit of a distraction. You want to be in the thorn, you want to be a thorn in the side of that Widow, and Dive DPS very proficient at doing that. Yeah,
and Bonzibon going to be starting this fight off with that big blade. It's gonna get Wolfwind, and that's bigger than you think if you get the kill, but Buzz grabs the Frosty down. Senpai finds Cloud with a stick. Oh, that poor Omnichrome Dome. And here, though, it's gonna get res. Zeal finding Bonzi before they can do any more damage, and Legola. Fight going very well for Sinai, and SubZero not having a lot of time left, but plenty of ults with which to work.
Yeah, I think the situation here is that you have to kind of put the pressure on Zeal. If you remove Zeal from the equation, you're able to kind of take many more sightlines that you might not be able to otherwise. Bonzibon getting some good kills off the back onto Wolfwind, but it wasn't quite enough. But not even going to have that opening this time around.
Yeah, that was some disgusting play, but ALW actually drops the bombs right onto Zeal. That's a neat little trick, you know? Widowmaker tend to be down the sights a lot, not really having the awareness, can't see too well, and here SubZero is starting to make an entrance onto this Ruins map point. Senpai falling down as well. Buzz gonna get demeched quickly by ALW's Ham and Hamster, and Bonzibon gonna be finding Leaf. It's not looking good for Sinai. SubZero is gonna be taking this point, but...
Yeah, and with Cloud 29 going to be dropped, that is going to be expensive in the fact that Cloud not going to be able to build that ult, which they will need in the coming fights, considering they will have to go 0 to 99 when the flip comes through.
Yeah, they are doing a good job of forcing out some ults, though. Bonzibon forced to drop another blade into that engagement. Cheddar is going to be getting some good kills, and SubZero is going to be able to stabilize, but it's pulling out those ults like that puts Sinai in a very good position for this next engagement.
Yeah, and now we're going to be seeing the team swaps come through. Senpai onto the Brig, Zeal onto the McCree, so no more long-range Widowmaker coming through for the player right now. Leaf jumping to try to get onto Bonzibon, going to be countered by that Diva dive from, I believe it was Cheddar. We like to see that.
Yeah, Cheddar throwing his bomb out, not going to grab anyone, just a little bit too premature. Maybe the counter bomb comes in from there, not also going to get anything either. With Primal Rage on the field, that's going to be Mines on the point as well. Had chance to bat some people around into those, maybe. And huge quantity of damage coming in from Leaf with that crazy cleave. They're going to be diving back onto Bonzibon. He's going to be kept up alive thanks to Mercy. Wolfwind, however, demecking Cheddar, getting the kill, follow with Buzz. High Noon now has no counter, but Bonzibon grabs him before it can go off.
Yeah, Death going to be the ultimate counter in this game, but Tree going to be saving Wolfwind with that sound barrier, allowing for the demech on to Cheddar that we saw earlier. Bonzibon absolutely cutting it up right now.
Yeah, that is insane. They have 3 blades in less than, I think, a minute and a half. If you count the first blade having been generated already, that is insane. SubZero, they're looking a lot better now.
Yeah, SubZero looking like the team that does significantly better when they have the hold with this composition, as opposed to a team that has to try to take the point. Cheddar on this Sombra, I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. You're going to have to really work to catch enemies out, but given how Leaf is playing, that's kind of something you're gonna have the favorable odds with.
Yeah, Senpai is going to pop that rally to start the fight off, leading up then again with the Primal Rage. Senpai finds Cheddar before anything could really have happened, but ALW also shout out to generating those mines extremely quickly, as is Hammond's one. Senpai again, Cheddar, oh, big 3K with the Deadeye, follow up with the 2K from Buzz, that was insane!
Yeah, in the end, the entire fight won at least to a extremely large degree by just the 2 ults, the Deadeye and the Diva Bomb. Of course, everything that was used to set them up, but in the end, that's what we're going to see on the kill feed. That's what we're going to be seeing, kicking the swing over to Sinai Village, giving them that win on Ilios.
Yeah, Zeal's switch onto the McCree, you know, we had just gotten finished talking about how you don't really get a lot of leverage out of that Deadeye. Sometimes the best you can say is that you got the reload. And then Zeal just decides, nah, you know what? Cheddar switched off on that Diva. His time is now.
Yeah, we can see the team definitely probably looking a little bit more comfortable. The team of Sinai looking a little bit more comfortable, knowing they're not having to go up against that giant bomb potential coming through from Cheddar, just ready to blow the stadiums away. But that being said, it is now going to be on to Sinai to abandon the next coming map. And oh lordy, I don't even know what to think anymore moving forward.
Yeah, Sinai is going to be taking the lead here. It's going to be 2-1 now. Interesting situation to be in for SubZero. You're now on match point. You're at risk of not saying goodbye forever, just, you know, being sent down to the quote-unquote second bracket, the losers bracket, where you have a chance to go all the way to the finals again. But I don't know. You had a lot of really good stuff coming out on that map, but despite, again, the very even fights and percentages, it still went 2-0 for the victor.
Yeah, man. I'm liking it right now. I think Sinai Village, judging by the first map, I was not expecting this, but I think that, you know, I was saying, and, you know, foot in my mouth here, but I was saying that SubZero, based on the Lijiang Tower run, that they were going to be the team that looked a little bit more comfortable on DPS, but I think Zeal really showing some DPS dominance that just really helped to secure that fight and secure the map win in general.
Yeah, Bonzi's blade generation was off the charts. but it's not gonna. It wasn't enough to get that Ruins map locked up. Looking at some of the kills they had coming out, they did a fantastic job of eliminating the supports, but I think it's the lack of counter to Zeal. The last time Zeal tried to pop a Deadeye off, Bonzi was there with the kill, and that was huge. So now, though, what we saw at the end was Zeal actually popping off with the Deadeye, and that really opened up that point for that final take. Otherwise, if that hadn't happened, yeah, Buzz's bomb still was going to be coming in huge, so it's difficult to say how that would have turned out. But yeah, interesting. Zeal coming out on top. Curious as to the map picks and bans for coming out, how SubZero's gonna try and turn this around.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's looking like the call being made to ban Eichenwald, which I'm surprised that's the first time in recent memory that I if this goes through, I'd see Eichenwald be banned. It seems like teams have more of a favor to playing it than against. But maybe Sinai just not feeling too comfortable on it. Maybe they know it has too many kind of variants for them to be able to predict. Maybe they're just not practiced in it, but for whatever reason, they are looking like they're leaning towards it. And in fact, it's looking like Eichenwald going to be banned. However, SubZero are going to be picking the next map that's looking like Hanamura.
I think we're going to be seeing the May come out. I think that could be their option here. Hanamura point A, especially being very good for that May play. You get that nasty choke, you have some fun. But the other thing too is they also might be willing to have a Bonzi up on that Pharah again. And Sinai, though, they're going to be stuck, playing whatever they do on Hanamura, which could be that 3-3. They, pretty decent on it when they're showing up on the, on the previous engagements.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that since SubZero are going to be picking the hero to ban, they're probably not going to be banning that May. And I believe we saw them running the May in Control Center, and I think it was looking pretty good. I think it's going to be something that they might be able to lean on here.
Yeah, it's tricky. You do have to, if you lose that point A, switching off tends to be the thing you want to do. But if you do switch it on, like you've seen it happen, the stall can be very good. And I think SubZero are definitely going to be starting out with that May. They've elected to kick it off on the defense for... Oh, no, that's Sinai selecting the side. They're starting on attack. Oh, fascinating. Well, that, I think, definitely helps SubZero, if I'm not being jebaited entirely. But they're going to save Lucio again, or rather, Lucio is going to be saved again, this time by Sinai Village. And now it's time for SubZero's, what I hope to be a very strategic hero ban.
Yeah, I'm going to be seeing it come through here. As we see the teams get kind of moved around and shifted, the sides being picked, as mentioned by Threep. I'm still waiting on that ban, and it's gonna be Brig. I like that.
Wow.
My like for that ban comes through just as strongly as my hate for Brig, which is a moderate amount. It's not a burning hatred. It's just like the coal embers of hatred.
I mean, Reinhardt's used to get bullied pretty hard, so I definitely share that sentiment. Interesting choice, because again, you don't get the Brigitte for either side. And for that extra stun potential, you'd figure that you actually would kind of want that coming out for you. When, the Maywall goes up, the stun comes in. It's another great way to, stop some ults, too.
Yeah, indeed, but we're just going to have to see how it shakes out as we get moving here, Threep, and I'm excited. Both teams going to be giving the go-ahead for the game to begin, and we're going to see it.
All right, Hanamura, you're coming out. This is it for SubZero. Like, this is it, right? You have to take this map. You have to win. And full holds on Hanamura are very possible. So... man, I don't even know what the game plan can be.
Yeah, Hanamura, worth noting, is also the map we're most likely to see that Sim Bastion combo come out, at least within our map pool. That Sim able to just locate the Bastion, or relocate the Bastion right onto point, and if they do end up using a Maywall, able to block off the most immediate pathing to the point. So a lot of potential going to be coming through here. Not necessarily sure that these teams are going to be running it. It doesn't seem to be a hero that's too familiar in their arsenal, but it's something to kind of keep on the back of the mind for both of them. The relocation capability is going to be pretty strong here. In fact, Zeal going to be pre-locking in the sim. Not for sure, not certain, not putting anything out there yet, but the sim definitely going to be showing on the leaderboard, on the hero board as it first comes up.
And of all the things I'm comfortable saying, the possibility of Zeal staying on the Symmetra is very real. Now that I've said it, it is definitely a debate. Wolfwind on the Moira too. Very strong pick. Sinai had a lot of leverage from Moira's area of effect healing back on Ilios. I can see that being very advantageous to them on Hanamura. Unless Bonziban can do a good job of catching a few of those members out of position.
Yeah, if that Maywall comes in, separating the supports from the front line, there's not going to be a whole lot to do. It's really going to be dependent on how quickly Zeal can get that teleporter up. And it looks like they're rolling out with the sim, so that's going to be going into effect. No Bastion, however.
No Bastion, but the sim is real. And yes, they get everyone across. The Maywall wasn't even there. What happened? Bonzi wasn't there. Leaf instead gets the charge onto Legola. So Lucio down, big source of healing gone. The Discord also onto Leaf, but Zeal, he's even going to pick up the kill on the Bonzi. The ALW does Fire Strike his Reinhardt counterpart, Leaf, but a take has been gathered. Second one is on the way, and there doesn't look like there's any way for SubZero to re-enter this point.
Yeah, that is a tough spot to be in when you are on the defense and have to now attack the point. As we can see, ALW trying to just get toes into the water as it is.
Wow.
Going to be getting massive swings.
Oh my god. It looks like ALW actually gets the credit for the kills. It was almost over. Buzz even gets aced before they can call in another mech. It then went from being a full take in less than a minute to a friggin' team wipe.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was a rather effective tactic, even from the attackers. Even though you don't get the full point, you're having a 90%. That's going to be a good spot here. Zeal almost having that wall up, maybe not the most effective, considering that Bonziban's going to be perhaps one of the most impacted by that, but you're still able to get those walls down. We're going to see how it plays out.
Interesting little teleporter choice here. They instead go to the right into that little tunnel there to get out of sight, out of mind, hopefully giving them a better chance to get onto the point. Zeal also going to be having that Symmetra ult. I wonder how they're going to, yes, they do bisect the point, and Bonziban gets caught a little bit there, but they wall it in!
Yeah, however, it looks like a majority of the team will be able to bypass that wall or just sit on top of it. Both their shadows getting blocked, but it looks like by the, well, it's going to be Leafs getting blocked by the Bell.
Leafs, yeah, but this, the follow-up was very real, and that's going to be the rest of the point for the Sinai Village, who make very short work of that final push there.
Yeah, however, not a lot of snowball potential here, only going to be having trees, sound barrier on the line, and that's not an ult you can really kind of snowball too strongly with. You can kind of lead in, but it's a little bit tougher than if you had a lot of tank ults online.
Yeah, and wow, the ult's coming in. Cheddar drops the grab. Bonzi as well, throwing the Mei ult into the fight. The kills aren't there yet, but Zeal does go down, and the wall is going to keep Reinhardt trapped up there at the end. It looks like Leaf is just going to go diving onto the point, get some swinging ult charge before they go down, as SubZero stabilizes just in the nick of time. No ticks given up either.
Yeah, and I really like that from Team SubZero. We're going to be seeing them kind of have that patience to stay on the high ground until they're absolutely ready, or they're absolutely sure that they're ready to die, or not die, but they're ready to drop down and kind of punish the positioning of basically Sinai Village all being just in the same zone. That being said, Zeal going to have that proton barrier up once again. Ready to go, and it's going to come out right now.
And they do bisect the point. They make it so that the teleporter goes in time. The Diva Bomb does come in on the rest of the side. It's way too high to do any damage, though. ALW, however, goes down to Leaf. Wolfwind, doesn't matter what shields you have. That beam's going right through it, and kills are being huge now. Leaf's Shatter comes out. Doesn't look like it grabbed anyone, but there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The point falls to Sinai.
Yeah, Sinai going to be doing pretty well in this situation. It's interesting that normally we see Hanamura either, you know, first attempt done, or we see first attempt, many more attempts, and then fail or done. But it's kind of weird. It throws off my tempo to see like, oh, they took it on both second pushes. Like,
Yeah.
like second time was the charm both times. The second charm was especially the charm, I think.
And you know what it is? Every time they took a point, Zeal had his ult.
Yeah.
Zeal was there every time to be bringing that good stuff. So I think that's the good pattern. So bam, interesting.
Yeah, and if they were to run that sim again, it's hard to say what would go well against it. Maybe a Sombra who can build up EMP at a very fast rate and be able to just neutralize the sim wall with one press of the Q, assuming no stuns come through or anything like that. I'm curious. I'm interested to see if Zeal will be choosing to run that again. Should we go on to multiple attack phases? But what we can say for certain, Senpai going to be on this Bastion, not going to be taking the high ground, the highest high ground, as there is no sim. However, we're going to be seeing Leaf kind of do a little bit of coordination here with the pseudo bunker comp that we're going to be seeing. Buzz doing a little bit of forward scouting though.
Yeah, and with the Bastion very set up, nice there, comfy, nice and comfy on the high ground, Orisa shield in full force. Zeal on the Ashe is something that I think should be very scary. Their proficiency with hit scan DPS is obviously not in question, and with a Mercy boosting them, if they pop ahead on this no shields composition coming out from SubZero, they have a very good chance of ending fights way before they have a chance to really get into full swing.
Yeah, as well, Zeal going to have a lot of stall potential with that Bob. Something to definitely keep an eye out and be very wary of. However, it's looking like the DPS going to be switching to a divier comp. Bonzi-Bon going to be on that Genji, perhaps to deal with Zeal, get up in their face, make them have to take the sights down or distract them otherwise.
Yeah, and there it is, D.Va very quintessential to busting open that Bastion bunker. Cheddar gets Senpai down very quickly. The res is there though, and Buzz gets demapped. It's going to be interesting if they can coalesce here, because it is technically still showing like good kills, but Bonzi now going crazy. Picking up Senpai, grabbing Zeal. It's going to be a good, nice, wide open point, and I would say normally that this is going to be the part where SubZero takes it all the way, but we all know what happened last time.
Yeah, I don't know if the chat was able to see it, but Bonzi actually fighting Zeal kind of in a mano-a-mano situation. Zeal actually detonating dynamite at their own feet with like something around the realm of 70 health left. So I'm using that Zeal kind of contributed to their own fate there. Not quite able to take out Bonzi as we saw, but doesn't look like it's going to matter too much in terms of ultimate charge being built up, as the McCree switch is going to be coming out. Perhaps to handle that Genji. Makes a little bit of sense. That flashbang really competent at disabling that Genji, especially during a deflect if you aim it at the feet.
Yeah, and by way of counter, Too Frosty, though, going to be grabbing the Leaf before you have any chance. There goes the blade, high up into the sky. The trans is over, but there is nothing coming out from the other side because there is no Zenyatta, and they're going to get Buzz. They're going to grab Leaf. The Deadeye is here. Buzz, though, is going to pick up Legola with the big boom. Nothing from Cheddar this time around. Zeal does finally grab Bonzi off of that Genji, but damage has been done pretty well, except that no tick has been coming out yet for SubZero, and instead, it's the spawn advantage from Sinai being very strong and getting them back on the point.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're seeing what seems to be some solid ult generation from Zeal. As I said, the switch came through basically at the switch from first to second point, and then they already had Deadeye towards the very end. Used it perhaps a bit recklessly, but, you know, you're going to still get a Deadeye for free. And then switching off to Zarya, you're not going to be too concerned about it. The Hog, however, curious if this is going to be sticking around.
Yeah, but yep, there it is. Zeal actually going to be picking up the Zarya. Bonzi-Bon, is it Reaper? Is it Reaper? Yes. Yes!
Interesting. There's not a lot in terms of damage mitigation coming through from Senpai, so that is just a big meaty target that Bonzi-Bon going to absolutely be able to attempt to feed on. Going to have to be a little bit careful here. There still are a lot of tanks to play around, though.
Yep, and no healing when your D.Va Matrix is up, but boy, are they just going hog wild. Already a quarter of the way to their Reaper, but Zeal goes down, trying to right-click down the ALW, but instead it's them who fall. And Hog, Senpai's Hog, now getting a bit of a problem, but Leaf is going to be finding that backline, taking down Cloud. No Ana for this fight is going to be difficult for them to get that sustain necessary.
Yeah, and it's going to have to be noted that Cloud going to be playing very carefully around Senpai. Senpai going to be able to be very easily countered by Ana's kit. The anti-nade going to be eliminating the take a breather from Hog. Going to be able to sleep any hooked, or sleep the Hog as he's pulling in hooked targets. So kind of a careful counterplay there if Cloud's able to make it work.
Yeah, and oof, whoop, bam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. But look at the ults coming in though for SubZero. It's the big six.
Yeah, SubZero going to be having a lot ALW. The last one to get that ult online, that will be the Primal. However, Zeal, despite him switching back and forth, frequently going to have that Deadeye up once again. So we're looking at about half the ults on behalf of Sinai Village. We'll see if it's enough to carry them through this defense. So far, they're making a pretty decent hold of it, however.
Yeah, no ticks yet. The time has fallen below what Sinai able to do, so SubZero, if they finish up this point, will definitely be making the first push as they come back around. But there it is, ALW finishes off the big six. Too Frosty opening up the point, and now it's Ult-Pocalypse on the field. Buzz is going to grab Cheddar, though, both of them out of mech, but ALW picks up Moira, and that's going to be a bad kill for the sustain. But they're just not able to capitalize on it, and Wolfwood's going to be back in this fight way before Cheddar will be.
Yeah, and I like this positioning from Zeal. We saw him separated kind of far off to the cliffside of the map, away from the EMP. However, now we're seeing the kills go a different way, as it's looking like SubZero are going to push back with force.
Wow, they made it happen. They got the kills they needed. The second Tix rolls in. The stagger is so huge, or the stall, I guess you call it. High Noon's out. Leaf gets stunned immediately of primaling onto the point. So much damage coming through, charging up those ultimates. Bonzibon definitely going to be having that Death Blossom again, especially now that Senpai is here to donate another 900 health to the fight. Cheddar takes them all down. I got some of those Diva bullets lodged in my throat. Leaf bringing in the Hammond. The stall is so real and not without merit. If they can take this time down to the end, it's not good for SubZero, who must finish this map now.
Yeah, and they have to do it quickly, or they have to win it quickly because their supports are now both down. However, with more enemies coming onto the point, it's going to be looking scratchy if the defense can start to hold, but it looks like they can't. And despite not having any healers on point, it's going to be going in favor of SubZero.
Yeah, SubZero finishing that with time on the clock was massive. It gives them a chance to actually win the map for sure, instead of just going out with a tie or worse, the loss. And so here they go. They're starting their second offense, and given how the fights have been going, if they can get in there nice and quick, make it happen, we could be looking at a very long Hanamura.
Yeah, I mean, the time bank going to be almost halved in favor of SubZero as opposed to their opponent down the aisle, Sinai. But I mean, it's not impossible by any means. We've seen these maps again go very long. If SubZero able to get that 2-point or even 1-point push that we saw Sinai come out with, who knows? This entire match might flip on its head. However, we're going to once again be seeing the Mei come out. This time, Zeal.
So Zeal playing the Mei, again, I like that. They only have to hold for 2 minutes, but with the Mei, it's going to feel like a very long 2 minutes if they can play their cards right. Unfortunately, though, the dive might not have too much of an issue for that. Cloud and Zenyatta, though, they're going to be the ones getting caught on the ground if that Mei wall is used correctly.
Yeah, Zeal going to be using that Mei wall to even buy a few minutes right out of spawn, blocking off that main spawn entrance. We'll see how they continue to play aside from the cheesy Mei strat.
Looks like they're going to be diving in very quickly, though. Mei going to give them a little bit of a chance to get out of there, but that means the rest of the team members are going in. Ana and, rather, Lycola and Cloud playing very risky in the back line there, just raining heals down ad nauseum. There's no way that SubZero is going to get focused down like that unless someone addresses those healers.
Yeah, and this is a comp that's going to be very difficult for Leaf to gain a lot of ult charge on, just because of the mobility makes it very hard to swing upon those enemies, not looking nearly as charged up as their counterpart in ALW.
Yeah, because all that cleave damage being good times, and Leaf is the only one now with kills on the board, but this fight lasted way too long for that result to be going the way it did for SubZero. Leaf pulls out all the stops now, they get the Diva, they had gotten everyone, and so SubZero are going to have to change up the strategy a little, Bonzi sacrificing whatever charge they may have had to switch up onto that Pharah.
Yeah, and you think that that's kind of a good call here. You're able to bypass the Mei wall, you're able to kind of dance your rockets around Leaf's shields, and able to apply massive burst damage. It's going to give Wolfwind a lot of charge, but they are already at coalescence levels, so you're not too worried about that if you're keeping sharp track of your opponent's ults.
Yep, and here they go. Bonzi already building up to 50%, but Wolfwind has the thing there. Leaf, Shatter goes in, Zeal finds 2 Frosty. Like, Zeal's ult eaten by Cheddar! Massive! SubZero has a chance at opening this point. Lego leading the way with the Transcendence, and Buzz goes down as well. Cloud finds them. Bonzi again, just going nuts with the rockets. So much damage, but Cheddar getting DMAC not going to be good for the push here. Bonzi finding Tree is a lot better, and Leaf is getting focused down. There's the kill.
Yeah, just when we think that we have heard the last of Cheddar, another big play going to be coming out, eating that Blizzard. That is going to be crucial for Team SubZero to start turning this around and get some real progress on this point, which they needed. They did not want to have to go up against a full hold with 4.5 minutes on the time bank for defense.
Yeah, no way. That's just way too rough. Instead, it's going to be a 30-second race to point B on Hanamura. SubZero have the snowball potential here. A big grab from Senpai, though, could make that a little trickier.
Yeah, Senpai, however, if they get caught out in that EMP from 2 Frosty, not going to be happening, however. We're going to see just some massive plays come through.
Oh, the Shatter! He got booped away from it. He doesn't get anyone. Instead, that EMP was so massive. SubZero throwing onto the point. The bomb doesn't catch anyone, but the kills are still there anyways. The laser beams coming out from Wolfwind gonna be keeping up Senpai with that big sick charge, but Bonzi has the no contest in the sky. Diva Bomb now coming out on the point, though. That is gonna take them out of the field, but possibly the damage already done.
Yeah, and it's not looking great for the attacking team. They're starting to lose members. They need to be a little bit more decisive. ALW certainly doing their best to make that happen as the kills are starting to flow.
Yep, and boom. Zeal is going to find 2 Frosty. Buzz still on the point trying to get their mech back. They don't think they're going to be able to get back online. ALW just going fisticuffs when, you know, I don't know if you've ever boxed a gorilla. I certainly have. Here to talk about it. Leaf going charging onto the point, though. They're doing their best to try and take this point back, but without the kills, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, especially now that the offense SubZero has had time to kind of recollect the members they lost, now going to be hopping back in, and that kill onto Wolfwind going to perhaps be very crucial. Cloud29 showing off a little bit of Ana flex muscles there.
Yeah, Senpai switching also onto the Hem is just going to make this drag rather a bit further. They are almost there to their mines, but they get focused down again. This is possibly one of the longest ults I've ever seen on Hanamura. Difficult to say now that overtime is enforced. We don't get the time clock for you. And Wolfwind Seal now even also coming onto the point. How is this still going on? This is insane.
Yeah, it's coming on behalf of a large stall effort through here from Sinai Village, and they really need to make this happen. They do not want to have to retake 2 points. The Diva Bomb coming out might not be enough. You're going to be taking out ALW, though.
But they get the ALW, though, but there's the... Alright, so now there's the EMP. They finally finish it. Seal, rather, had just pulled out his Deadeye. I don't even know what was going to happen if that actually got off with time. So for now, well done to SubZero for actually finishing Hanamura in overtime. Sinai has 4.5 minutes to match it.
Yeah, Sinai certainly still not feeling too uncomfortable here. They do have quite a bit of time. 4.5 minutes if they're going off of their first round, definitely achievable. So overall, they may not be sweating it too much if they take it to multiple rounds. If they take it to another round, a 5-6 point round, they're gonna want to do it with a minute more on the clock, because that means once again there will be no chance for SubZero to catch up as they are completely drained of time, and anything under a minute for Sinai means that both teams will get a minute added.
Yep. And here we go now. The defense coming out from SubZero makes me so happy. I am the happiest little caster right now. It's the Orisa, it's the Diva, it's Bonzi on the Junkrat! And we were just talking about how you don't see a lot of Junkrat play anymore these days. So instead, we're going to be getting that right here on Hanamura. Going to be able to take advantage of that high ground and a Soldier 76 to match it up. Consistent damage, not the burst you usually see from, like, say, a Hanzo or a Pharah, but instead just nice, solid DPS coming out. Going to be needed to catch up with Zeal's teleporter, though.
Yeah, I think Bonzi definitely getting ready to get ahead of the game. These Junkrat buffs coming in. Gonna perhaps be making the Australian twitchy rat character definitely a little bit more viable. They're perhaps trying to get a little bit more practice with that under their belt. We're gonna see how effective it is moving forward.
Yep, and woo, the teleporter's out. They are switching up very quickly, having seen the composition. Zeal actually ducking on to a Junkrat themselves. What is this? 2 Junkrats in my Overwatch.
Yeah, overall something you definitely like to see. Worth talking about, Cheddar on this Diva, not the most team coordinated comp we see. You'll sometimes see the pulled pork, as me and Threep like to call it, come out, but oh my goodness, the kills.
Looks like those switches were exactly what Sinai was hoping to get out of that. Those kills came in so quickly, I'm almost shocked there's anyone still left on the field. ALW, though, is going to grab Senpai very quickly, who is doing a very good Bonzi impression on the Pharah, building up a hell of a lot of charge there. The Sinai is set up on the point, though, but here comes the big tire from Bonzi, and ALW's already down, though. Is this going to come out? No! Zeal actually takes the tire out, and so Sinai is going to continue on this point.
Yeah, it looked like there was advantage there from the attack or from the defending team. SubZero going to be able to hold. However, I think that the characters just didn't coordinate enough. They didn't quite push around, and they didn't know how to play around the bell, it seemed. And that really kind of led to the downfall of that defense when it was still salvageable with a lot of effort.
Yeah, and ALW is going to stop that snowball from happening. Buzz goes down, no more Dragon's percentage charging for them. With 3 minutes 15 left, that's a lot of time that they're going to be very happy to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, 2 minutes is probably the time they're looking to take it in, because that will give them just over a minute left on the clock. However, changes coming through. Senpai might be going off that Pharah. In fact, they are.
They're grabbing the Tracer. They were so close to a barrage, too.
Yeah, they must really be putting the value in this Tracer to give up that combo with the Valkyrie and the Rocket Barrage coming online. Curious to see what they're going to be playing around. Bonzi Bon going to be uncontested in the air because of that. Not a lot of anti-air characters on the attacking team.
And the same thing happens very quickly with Zeal's tire. It doesn't get destroyed, but it goes down with nothing happening. Buzz looking to get a kill on one of those agents in the sky. He's not going to be able to find anything. Nano Boost has gone out there, but they're looking very low. That is to say, SubZero. Wolfwind goes down. Cloud goes down to Wolfwinds. Zeal falls, but that's gonna get rezzed immediately, and the kills are going in but the jump missed. Wolfwind doesn't get onto the point. Trant's gonna have to get there, but it doesn't matter. Way too many kills for Sinai coming in. SubZero spawn advantage is gonna have to be very useful for them. Too Frosty having that sights coming in, gonna be much needed to stall this out.
Yeah, Wolfwind getting bullied by ALW. That's going to be buying the healing and damage mitigation off of the point that they need. Not quite able to get the kill in the end, but it looks like they're going to be able to get a little bit of a stabilization. Leaf taking a nap up above, see if he gets capitalized upon. But the fight's still not done. Buzz just being an absolute annoyance in this situation.
Yeah, Buzz rips apart the Tracer, grabs Cloud. Tree goes down, but not before they get the res onto Wolfwind. And Cheddar gets direct as a result. The Dragons were there. The stick onto Cheddar, and Frosty goes. Leaf gets bombed away, and this is a fantastic stall because despite the quantity of damage coming out, SubZero still maintains a presence.
Yeah, Cloud 29 and Senpai going to be the last 2 remaining on point as Buzz gets dropped by Cloud 29 mid-kill on to, I believe it was Bonzi Bon. That is some great play. The time is going to be dropping down to just below a minute. We're going to be seeing Zeal on this McCree as mentioned. And we're going to be seeing if they can see some of the effectiveness we've seen from the hit scan player here. On maps like Ilios.
Yep. Ooh, Too Frosty gonna be grabbing a Hanzo of their own. No Zarya to combo with. Senpai taking the long way around. Zeal finds Bonzibon very early into the fight. Good news for Sinai, bad for SubZero, as the Primal Rage has to come out just to get more time. But SubZero makes it happen. The Deadeye is there. They're taking their cover. They're not able to find it. They do! Too Frosty goes down. The defense matrix not enough. And ALW almost gets right-clicked away. But instead it's gonna be Cheddar taken away. But Buzz and Tree finding the kills of their own. Some Battle Mercy action on the point.
Yeah, a lot of heroes getting brought low here onto the attacking side of Sinai. Very few getting closed upon until Bonzibon going to be diving onto Zeal.
So crazy! SubZero still have yet to pick up the second tick. Again, or rather SubZero is, in fact, keeping from the second tick. Their presence just so crazy. Sinai can't get a foothold long enough, and the bomb coming out is not going to be enough. It gets no kills, and now we're in overtime.
Yeah, oh my goodness, this is looking pretty impressive here. And the back and forth is going. The kills need to flow through very quickly, but as soon as I said that last time, we did start to see them flow. And however, Bonzibon going to be doing some work here.
Yeah, Bonzi gets way too many kills. Sinai is going to be very difficult for them to cover up with this one. And yeah, Leaf is going to be able to get on the point. And I've said it before, overtime can last forever, but can it last long enough for Sinai to get back on the point? Leaf goes down, overtime goes away, and that's it. SubZero pull it out.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that was tiresome. That was just Hanamura was some fantastic play moving forward here.
Yeah, that's nuts. I can't, just so much good Overwatch. Don't forget to make your vote for the MVP below, because this is just crazy going on. Well, they're gonna be going to a map 5, and I cannot wait to see what these teams come out with.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be decadent, I'm sure. But man, that was lengthy. That was a test of both the teams and the casters' endurance, especially as we saw those fights go on for just so long. And I think that the Brig pick was really kind of a good one, coming through from, I believe it was Team SubZero here.
Yeah, I love it, and I kind of hope they get banned again. Oh man, I really want the Brig to get banned. Hopefully no one will save it. It's just, what a match. What some incredible Overwatch. You get to see people playing characters like, we get to see Junkrat! Like, come on, that's nuts!
Yeah, that was brilliant. You love to see it. And oh my goodness, that was lengthy. Are going to be seeing SubZero get the ban for this next map. Of course, the ones left are going to be on the 2 control point. There are going to be no 2 control points. I take that back. There's pretty much going to be Busan and Junkertown, if my tally is correct. The ban comes through for Busan, meaning that Junkertown gonna be our final map of the evening, and we're taking it to 5 games. Has it been 5 or 6?
Yeah, we are 2-2 right now, and we're going into map 5. And since Busan was just eliminated, Junkertown is going to be our final matchup. And yeah, technically possible, very difficult to get a tie on a map like this. So this, I think, is going to be our last match for the evening.
Yeah, my hype engine cannot take it anymore. I'm about to crash this train off the rails, but the Australian Outback, I talked a lot about it earlier. We might be seeing the pirate ship. We might not. I'm really hoping it goes that way, though.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid composition to be playing. There's almost no phase of the map where it's a bad idea to run the pirate ship. You know, if you get pushed off, it's a little difficult to reset, but as long as you can maintain your presence on the cart, you're gonna be having a good time.
Yeah, the worst part of the map to get knocked off the cart is any time past, you know, the first half of the first point, because then the walk back is terrible. But
yeah,
it stays a valid strategy for as long as you can ride it out. That being said, I think that the save coming through is going to be Winston, so it's looking like SubZero not going to be putting too much faith in that pirate ship comp if they're not saving any of the major components of it.
Yep, they... Ooh. they're gonna be saving the Winston. That's not a pirate ship hero.
That is
But it is
certainly
a
not
dive
pirate
hero.
ship. It is dive. I'm liking that. I'm thinking that they may be expecting some very peculiar, some fishy bans coming through, because we've seen some very weird bans and saves come through for in this game. So I think they may be kind of inclined towards that, not really knowing what the bans may come through for Sinai, but just kind of being ready to save what they definitely know they want to run this map around.
Yeah, the Brigida ban came out from an interest of from just way out in left field, because the ban supplying to both sides means that, you know, no one got to play Brig on that match, and that definitely went well for both teams. SubZero ultimately going to be pulling it out in the end, but what do you ban here if you're Sinai Village? How do you even go about that? What your options are pretty good for what you want to run, but SubZero has been showing a lot of versatility, the same as Sinai. It's difficult for me to say what their best option would honestly be.
Yeah, and you know, Junkertown, it kind of runs a little bit differently than what we've seen. It's one of the more claustrophobic escort maps, I'd say. I mean, you know, Gibraltar has the points where you're surrounded by crates and walls and things like that, but even then, as compared to the streets of Junkertown, it feels a little bit wider, especially during that streets phase where it can't be more than 3 cart widths, you know, wide at certain points in Junkertown. So there's a lot of things that, like, spam damage can be a lot more effective on defense, because you're just funneling it into a very small hallway. But the ban going to be Hammond, so interesting to see. I'm not sure I was expecting a Hammond to be run on Junkertown, but it's looking like Sinai might be kind of expecting that, or trying to nip it in the bud.
And you figure too that if they weren't going to be running the pirate ship, that Bastion would just be such an easy hero to ban on this map, right? Like if you have no intention of running pirate ship, and you think that there might be a possibility for SubZero to be running it, we saw Bastions come out for at least you know, some time on Hanamura. You know, you just ban the Bastion, you'd be done. So it's interesting. Instead, they went for the Hammond, and I can see why they'd want to do that. It was a huge pain in the butt. But that might mean that we might be seeing some Sinai Village Bastion pirate ship comp.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's going to be kind of a grab bag here. Worth noting that the teams will not be picking their side. However, that being said, I do believe it will be SubZero starting off on the attack. We're going to see what they're going to be rolling out with. More accurately, we're going to be seeing what Sinai, I think, is going to be rolling out with first on that defense.
Yep, they are going to be responsible for playing their hand to the casters first, and Zeal on a Widowmaker, maybe? The Junkertown is a map where you get some really slick Widow duels going down, and if I were Zeal, and maybe if I was also SubZero, I might be anticipating it a tad.
Yeah, I mean, right out of the gate, it's looking like that might not be the choice. Zeal going to be on that Zarya instead. We're going to be seeing the standard Ana-style goats from the looks of it. But if things are looking true to form for Team SubZero, the Bastion Pirate Ship looking like a very viable possibility to Frosty hopping onto that Roadhog. Curious to see how it plays out. Of course, Cheddar feeling comfortable sticking onto that Diva, and I can't say I put any blame there. I think he's been getting some very good Diva bombs, especially for the first half.
Yeah, but it's going to be Cloud with that Bastion, so yeah, there it is. They were, rather at least SubZero, definitely intending to run that pirate ship the whole time. They don't get the additional hog cook though, and that's going to be the Goats composition's invitation to come ripping into that Bastion. Cloud goes down, and yeah, if you can't get set up immediately, you get stuffed right back into spawn.
Yeah, and in Sinai's villages, thinking this is exactly what you have to do. You have to prevent Cloud29 from getting onto the cart. Otherwise, he becomes so much more mobile. Zeal getting pulled out is going to be costly, though.
Yup, there it is. Zeal goes down with a headshot full of scrap. And a Pharah in the sky in the form of Bonzi means that you have the Bastion on the ground, you have the Pharah in the sky. Leaf has a lot of work cut out for him, but they do manage to take out the Bastion before Leaf goes down as well. This spawn advantage, however, definitely in favor of the SubZero, but the fight still isn't going any definitive way.
Yeah, it's as we said, worth noting that, you know, the kill's definitely going through, at least initially, here from SubZero, but they have not been able to capitalize enough to get onto cart and get any major progress moving. Cloud29 looking like they might finally be able to get set up on the point, but of course, with Bonzi on that far, I don't think we're surprised to see that the kills start flowing through for the attacking team.
Yeah, so that's going to be the opening that they needed, and the pirate ship is now set up. They're rolling pretty. And this is going to be interesting for the dislodge plays coming in. How does Sinai run this with such an now again, this very difficult bunker to go in. Looks like they're leading with a rally. The hook doesn't grab anything, and yeah, they do a fantastic job of just surging right in there. Big anti-nade goes in. Zeal finds Cloud. Leaf does get go down though, but Bonzi dies instead. Buzz gets hooked, but they had so many shields it barely matters. And now Sinai Village looking very dominant here.
Yeah, Toot Frosty doing very good to get the hooks with this hog. However, the damage follow-up not quite there. As I've said before, the Ana can be very effective against a hog, preventing that self-healing, meaning that the Mercy will have to switch focus a lot between the two heroes, especially if that E is already in use. However, Toot Frosty popping on to the Sombrita moving forward here, and I don't think that this is a bad call. They switch off the Bastion comp. I think it's necessary at this point, just not quite quick enough to get onto cart.
Yeah, and boom. So here we come. They have the option now. It's just a much more traditional dive. The Grav goes out, but it's not looking like there's going to be much of a follow-up. Bonzi does get Senpai. Cloud had died earlier in the fight. So the hack now on Zeal means that it looks like they might be the next target. Rez is going to come in now, evening up the odds for SubZero to make a push further on this card. But Bonzi going down, not going to be a good solid option for that. But again, it's just an all-out trade brawl on the point as Goats goes head-to-head with Dive.
Yeah, ALW get brought dangerously low due to that Ana nade Legola going to be just keeping that healing beam for when it purifies. However, it's still looking questionable, and this has been a rough attack for the team SubZero. And, you know, it's Buzz going to be taking a quick trip off the mountain, but I don't know if it'll be enough judging by how this round's been played so far.
Yep, the cart again not able to get past this these two houses here. Cheddar having gotten D-Mech, they are going to be able to get back in there. Neither team committing any ults to this fight yet. ALW looking not so good, but Bonzi's Barrage comes in, gets no kills, the barrier's out, and the Shatter gets ALW. The trans is there to pick everyone up. Charge goes right into Cloud, he's enlightened, so he's fine. The big booms come in, and Buzz goes down, but not before they take out ALW as a result. That gets rezzed immediately, but it's still an even 5v5 on the cart now.
Yeah, of course, Cloud going to be hopping back relatively quickly, but ALW just having to face tank against so many sources of damage and CC, and then the massive EMP going to be coming through might be the opening that the attacking team needed. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, Bonzi going down. There it is. ALW falls again. It's like Fraggy syndrome. Zeal just manages to find these tanks with that massive beam. So much charge, like almost consistently glowing like a friggin' star. And yeah, they're gonna get pushed off the cart. SubZero's journey through Junkertown ends very quickly, unless Bonzi can get back in here and rip off the barrage of their lives. But unfortunately, that's not gonna happen.
You're powered up. Get
Yeah,
in there.
and all of a sudden, things look kind of grim for SubZero. They've taken it pretty much the entire distance. With that, as long as that distance is not Junkertown, because Junkertown, they did not get a lot of travel time through. And that means they're going to have to do a pretty strong, an even stronger hold, in fact, than their counterparts.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see. Again, it's like when we talked about the Hollywood situation, where can you hold the tick? Can you hold this 77-meter push? Absolutely. Is it going to be really hard? Absolutely. SubZero have their work cut out for them. They can still win this map, but Sinai did a really good job of demonstrating their ability to aggress with that 3-3. And, you know, even if they, try to set up that Bastion bunker, which can be a little more effective here on the high ground, not a lot of ways to get up to it, we could still be seeing an interesting play. And I don't know if SubZero is going to be able to hold it, but coming out the way they are, that's going to be a solid choice. They're coming out with the 3-3, very strong composition. They've made it this far. They've 2-2'd Sinai every step of the game. If it's gonna be a comp that holds a 77-meter push on Juggertown, it's gonna be this one.
Absolutely, and we're now going to be seeing the pirate ship composition start to look like it's leaking out from Sinai. However, one thing I would have thought interesting to see would be SubZero bringing out that May stall strategy where they just stay camped in the building they're in now, but they just keep putting up May walls and Orisa barriers to continually contest the cart basically for free. That being said, they're not going to be pulling that out. It's just going to be a little bit of standard goats. I'm going up against a pirate ship, and that's going to be a tough spot.
And it's interesting, they're actually going with an almost identical setup, but instead of the Roadhog, they're dropping in with a Diva of their own. And Buzz is actually going to take the cart and start moving. And that's going to be a tricky situation to be in. Diva's defense matrix from Cheddar not looking good. Legola goes down. Zeal's going to get found by Cloud, but again, the starting spawn here, very nice position to get that kill. It's going to get rezzed anyways, just to get the back in the fight a little faster. Frosty goes down as well. Every kill matters here for the offense, and SubZero have to recover, and they got trapped. ALW and Bonzibon are trapped.
Yeah, that is a tough spot that you do not want to be in. That Widow keeping really tight sight lines onto the Zarya and Reinhardt, keeping them pressured. Normally wouldn't be an issue, but I'm assuming ALW's shield got torn up, and Bonzibon just maybe didn't have the barriers up that they needed. And now there's going to be maybe one contest, maybe a half contest coming through from the team of, SubZero to try to hold out the point for 3 more minutes.
Not a good situation. Senpai, Tree, Buzz, Wolfwind, and Zeal all looking very close to their ults. Cloud's going to have his trans online, though. Excellent method of keeping this stall alive. And yes, he's going to open up that fight very quickly with it. But he's going to be able to keep ALW alive, who even with the Discord almost got taken out. But now Senpai's got his tank configuration going. He finds Cloud immediately. Bomb is in. ALW goes down. Nothing from the bomb, but Cheddar gets demexed. Zeal now finally able to exercise some of that Widow. Senpai goes down on the Bastion, though. Good kill for keeping SubZero alive here.
Yeah, absolutely, and I like the way that this attack was set up. Instead of putting the Bastion on the cart, they put him on the high ground, knowing that because of the cart distance, the defending team is going to have to get on there and open up those sight lines from the long-distance Bastion shots. And it's looking like it's going to help win them this fight, as we see ALW going to be dropping.
Yeah, and there it is. Sinai takes it through. They finish it out in a marathon of Overwatch. We skipped the third maps on the control point matches, but otherwise we got to see a truckload tonight. Very happy that you all stuck through it with us for the end. So holy moly, well done to both teams, absolutely. Going the distance for sure.
Yeah, that is the best way to describe it as far as I'm concerned. And that being said, once again, I am just breathless moving forward here. That was, despite how their attack phase went, that still was not a horrid-looking defense coming through from Team SubZero.
Yeah, so make sure that you mention that let the poll know who your favorite was. We love seeing those picks come in, so let your voice be heard. Meanwhile, Sinai Village going to be having a bit of that post-game interview action if they're up for it, and I can't imagine they must be exhausted, but Buzz going to be dropping in to say hello.
Indeed, we will just be waiting for Buzz to kind of get into the game here, but man, speaking for those divas, that just seemed like a game of ultimates going into the first few maps, and we were seeing massive multi-kills come through pretty consistently, and I'm interested to get their point of view from it.
Yeah, speaking of which, Buzz, welcome to the caster chat. Congratulations in a very hard-fought victory.
Thank you, man.
Oh man, so how are you feeling right now? I'm exhausted, but how you doing?
Honestly, the nerves are still at the high. The adrenaline hasn't really worn off yet. We have some history with this team, and we really wanted to win this game. So.
Yeah, and when you definitely did, taking it to the 5th map, Junkertown. Really fantastic work. So you mentioned some history. I heard that there was actually a one team. The brand got split up. Do you have any words for us?
So pretty much what happened is we played as a core under SubZero, and then we left for this organization that we're currently a part of, Sinai Village. And SubZero branding was handed over to this team by one of our players. And we just have worked in and out with them in the past and had a little rivalry ever since then.
All right. Loving it, loving it, loving it. So you did a lot of good work today on the Diva. We saw some really intense back and forth between yourself and Cheddar. But it looks like you also had some ducking onto some other roles as well. Do you have a particular preference?
I've obviously played the Diva for a long time, and that's kind of what I've gotten used to. It's been probably years at this point, but I've really liked switching over to the Hanzo and the Sombra recently. It allows some diversity in our team comps and some fluidity in my hero pool.
For sure, for sure. Getting those EMPs and a little extra information on ult tracking for the other team is always a solid option. So you guys are looking really good as a team too. Is this the first competitive shooter game that you have all played together?
It is, actually. We've been a team for around a year and a half now. We formed in January of 2018.
Oh, wow.
And we've just kind of worked together. We've played in a LAN tournament, but Overwatch is the first game we've played together as a unit.
Fantastic. It kind of hurt to hear you say last year, January 2018. I don't know why. Like that really stung. Congratulations, Buzz. Hopefully, go ride that adrenaline down. You definitely earned some nice rest. Congratulations again to Sinai Village and also to SubZero, who we will be seeing again in the lower bracket as they fight their way back up through the top.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be looking forward to seeing those teams. And once again, thank you, Buzz, for joining us. We will be...
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And for those of you at home still watching, we are just waiting for the last of the votes to trickle in. We are on a little bit of a delay, so we want to make sure that each and every one of you gets your chance to voice your opinion. That being said, Threep, you get 3 words to describe how this game went.
Overtime. Very exciting.
I'd say if I had to pick 3 words, long, brutal. Okay, long and self-destruct. I wanted to throw in the Diva Bomb reference there somewhere, but I realized I couldn't make that one word. Yeah,
I knew you were gonna. And yeah, self-destruct definitely counts as one word. Holy moly, the bombs that were coming out from these people was just insane. You know what? I'm honestly kind of surprised though, or rather, I think we saw a lot of we saw Bonziban jump off very quickly on the Pharah, kind of establishing themselves as a DPS player to look out for. But Zeal countering that with their own play, really interesting to watch. I liked seeing that play out. And again, like you said, the hero switches coming in. You mentioned that the Widowmaker duel ended with a swap onto the Tracer just to try and do some harassing.
Yeah, I think that harassment proved to be pretty... I don't think it was quite enough at that point. I think that Zeal had kind of stuck in where they needed to. I think they held it up until 99, if I'm not mistaken, and then the point went flipped for a little bit. But still, just the massive like pop-offs we saw come through for Zeal. Still definitely somebody I think to keep an eye on moving forward. And good grief, I am just seeing Twitch chat blow up right now.
I mean, rightfully so. As far as the individual members on each team were, they were, you know, each one of them did such a fantastic job. And especially, like I want to say, like the heals were amazing. The tank play was really on point. How do I say this? If I were to vote in the MVP poll, which I typically don't because, you know, objectivity, non-bias, caster, blah, 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 blah. But I almost don't think I would vote. Like, how do you even pick someone amongst that? Like, it's just crazy. We are going to end up with one. And, you know, anyone who would pick, I would say, would be a valid option. But it's just... speechless.
And we're actually going to be getting those MVP votes in now, so the tension will finally be broken. Wow. Despite the amount of massive spam I saw in the chat, it sounds like it's going to be Senpai from Sinai Village going to be coming through as our MVP for the night. So a definite congratulations to Senpai, and congratulations to Sinai Village in general for taking their first map of the tournament. We look forward to seeing them in the future bouts.
Yes, indeed. So, speaking of which, don't forget to keep tuning into the Overwatch Watchers Brawl as we move out through the April month. Sometimes it'll be me and Sir Waltham, sometimes it'll be other wonderful casters. For now, though, this has been Threepwood007. Grab me on Twitch or Twitter at Threepwood007.
And likewise, I am Sir Waltham. You can catch me Twitch at Sir Waltham and Twitter, Sir Waltham Gaming.
Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe and have a good night.